Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man, if you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please go to ISUPK.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West. They're one West. They're one West.
All right. Clap it up. Once again, it's Monday night. And Monday night is history class. We're going to go into a little bit of history. We're going to learn some things tonight. You understand? The title of tonight's class is The Blueprint to Destabilizing a Nation, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Natives. We have been destabilized as a nation of people. A lot of us don't understand how we've been destabilized, and we're going to go through some things and teach it. Like I said, we are the ISUPK Israelite School under Commanding General Yohana. Been teaching this truth since 1969. And what is that truth? That truth is the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Natives are the true biblical Jews of the Bible. You understand? And our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And with that, like I said before, you understand? The Blueprint to Destabilizing a Nation is the title of tonight's class. Now, the first question I want to ask is, what does it mean to destabilize? What does it mean? What does destabilize mean? Somebody let me know, what does destabilize mean? Give you a couple of seconds. What does destabilize? You understand? Break that word down, destabilize. You understand? Well, destabilize means to make something unstable. Destable, unstable. You understand? Not firm. You understand? Not solid. You understand? To cause something such as a government to be incapable of functioning or surviving. That's how you destabilize. That's what it means to destabilize a government. You understand? It also means the same thing to destabilize a people, to make a people unstable. You understand? To make a people, non-functioning. You understand? Look, if you step back and you look at Blacks, Hispanics, and Natives, you understand? We are a non-functioning people. I'm not saying that we don't work. I'm not saying that we don't work hard. But to function as a nation of people, we don't. You understand? We are non-functioning. You understand? Even in surviving, we are non-functioning even when it comes to survival. You understand? We are destroyed as a people. And thanks to America, thanks to the oppressor, that's how we've gotten here like that. You understand? Because we've been destabilized as a nation of people. Listen, example, the group hoped the assassination of the new president would destabilize the government. When you knock out the head, and it's the same thing that Israel tries to do with Hezbollah, tries to destabilize Hezbollah by knocking off, you understand, the top brass or the leaders of Hezbollah. You understand? But they're having a hard time at it because Hezbollah is a solid nation. You understand? That cannot be easily destabilized. You understand? It took a few things for America to be able to really destabilize us. We were solid as a people, even going through slavery and coming out of slavery. You understand? They created all kinds of laws to try to destabilize us in the beginning. That's where you got the Black Code, the Jim Crow laws, and all of those laws like that. All kinds of laws to push us backwards. You understand? To keep us steps behind them. You understand? They created, and we talked about this some months ago, they created the labor union. They created the labor union to destabilize us. And I say this all the time, right after the Reconstruction, you understand, when America or the American South had to be rebuilt, you understand, everybody knew the choice labor group to use was so-called blacks. You understand? Because we had the skill set. We were the artisans of that time, meaning we were the skilled laborers at that time. We were the carpenters. We were the plumbers. We were the electricians and things like that. We knew how to build a stable house. You understand? We knew how to make sure that buildings would stand for through the test of time. You understand? We had all the skilled positions we had sewed up back then. So America, to destabilize us in that point in time, created the labor union in 1871, only 5 years after the Civil War. You understand? 5 years after the Civil War, 1863, the Civil War was, I want to say, officially over, but a lot of blacks in the South didn't hear until 1865. So in 1871, when they began the Reconstruction, or in 1866, when they began the Reconstruction, everybody was hiring the former slaves, so-called former slaves, because we still slaves today. You understand? And that comes from being destabilized. We're still under the thumb of our oppressor. But in 1871, they created that labor union so that the so-called former slaves couldn't get those bids and build those houses. Because think about it, right? You didn't have to pay a former slave as much as you did, a white worker. White workers got twice as much. You understand? So what our oppressor did was they created the labor union. And then the labor union, you had to be all white to be in the labor union. First labor union was an all-white labor union, just so that white people could get jobs, so that we couldn't get jobs. And that's how they partially destabilized us in those times. But remember, we had black cities, towns, and communities at that time. You understand? And having black cities, towns, and communities at that time, the labor union really set us back slightly, because that would have been good work to really build up more cities and towns, black cities and towns. You understand? So they started that, and that's how they partially destabilized us. You understand? And America is a I want to say, is a professional at destabilizing nations of people and countries. This is what America does. You understand? America sets out to destabilize countries, and this is part of America's propaganda. And also, this is also, I talked to Korah. I talked to Korah a couple of days ago about, you understand, about how America created the League of Nations after World War I. And then because they didn't have total control and total dominance after World War I, they stepped away from the League of Nations. So that after World War II, they created the United Nations, where they had total dominance over the United Nations, because most of the global nations were so destroyed that they needed help to rebuild. And America was stepping in to help rebuild, because remember, in World War II, America came in late in World War II, and they didn't necessarily come in late, but they only fought Japan, where all of the other nations were fighting everybody. Everybody was fighting everybody except for America. America only went to war with Japan until D-Day hit, and everybody got slaughtered storming those beaches of Normandy. You understand? But America didn't feel the casualty and the losses that all of the other nations felt. Not only that, America never got bombed on its mainland. And because America never got bombed on its mainland, America stood strong after World War II, created the United Nations, and took total control of all the other nations. You understand? And that's how America destabilizes nations to this day by using the blueprint that they created. Well, this is the way America destabilizes us, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives today. You understand? This is the same blueprint that they use. And one of the things that they use is they use the welfare system. The welfare system is their main product of destabilizing us as a people. And I don't know if anybody knows this or knows that, but in the 1960s, all the way into the 70s, when the welfare system really got popular amongst blacks and Hispanics, this was the system that they used to tear families apart. You understand? And in order to get welfare at that time, all the way up, even into the 90s and even into this day, they'll tell you that you can't have a man living in the house if you need welfare. And then they make it almost impossible for a male to get welfare. You understand what I'm saying? Where when you see all of these farmers, you understand, and all of these oppressors, when they come up for welfare, they get it with no stipulations. You understand? And this is a system that they use to destabilize us as a nation. You understand? And these stipulations come from the weak leadership that we have. You understand? If you look around the board, if you look at any leader, especially any leader that they put on a pedestal, if you look at those leaders have always been against us, whether it be Thurgood Marshall, whether it be W.E.B. Du Bois, whether it be Martin Luther King, or any of them. You understand? Clarence Thomas. You understand? They all speak out in some kind of way against so-called blacks and Hispanics. They all got something written about how we should not. You understand? What was that? W.E.B. Du Bois is the one who said that, you understand, poor black people shouldn't be able to reproduce.
Right.
You understand? How can you say that about your people? Especially if the cause of your people being in poverty is no choice of their own and is not the cause of themselves. You understand? And you have a whole lot of us that are in poverty, but that's population control. When you think about it, that's population control. What did they say? We are Salakia, sir, if I may, what did they say? We are 13% of the population, or 12 or 13% of the population? That's not a lot. So that means we probably at the strongest, we probably about 50 million, because I'm not 50 million. It's not 50 million, is it? What's the total population of America?
Oh, I get it.
Total population. Somebody plug in for me. Tell me, what's the total population of America? Then I want to know the total population of blacks in America. I don't want to include the Hispanics right now. As a matter of
It's
fact,
about 50. In 2023, an estimate 48.3 million people self-identified as black,
right.
making up 14.4% of the country's population. This was in 2023.
I would do 23 with the Hispanics, but now they being deported.
Come on.
You understand? They got them on board in cages on the border. You understand what I'm saying? And this is the reason why the Most High tells us to gather together. And this is why it's important to know history, because a lot of us don't understand that blacks and Hispanics are a nation in itself. We are a nation of people. And we keep looking at each other like we're not the same people. We are the same people. You understand? We are the same people. Just like our brothers that's out there on those Caribbean islands, in Puerto Rico. All of those are our people. They just got dropped off on a different place. That's it. You understand? And we have to understand that a part of the way we think is part of our destabilization too. You understand? Because we believe that we are not the same people, but we are the same people. You understand? Weak leadership is what's causing us to think like we think. You understand? We don't think about it, right? In America, we are the only people in America that don't govern ourselves. When you go to Asian communities, they govern themselves. The East Indians even govern themselves in their own communities. You understand? Ethiopians and Somalians, they govern themselves in their own communities. We are the only people, blacks and Hispanics and natives, are the only people that don't govern themselves. You understand? We go down in Chinatown all the time. In Chinatown, China, the Asians do not have a problem because they govern themselves and they run their own community. That's why they got their names on everything. Even though you see the names written in American, right under there, you see the name written in Asian, because they let you know that this belongs to us and we run this right here. We keep saying that we live in urban neighborhoods, we live in black communities, but these are not black communities. These communities are owned by other people because we have been destabilized as a people. We don't govern, we don't run, we don't own anything in our own communities. And the way you destabilize a people is you get their leadership to think as the oppressor. You get somebody like a Wes Moore to think as the oppressor. You get somebody like a Martin Luther King to think as the oppressor, a Clarence Thomas, a W.E.B. Du Bois.
Right.
You get these people to think like the oppressor. And that's how you destabilize a nation of people. Weak leadership is why we are destabilized as a people. Salakia, sir, if I may,
Come.
I want that dog,
Greedy dog.
loving to slumber. Yes. Yes. Come on, sir.
Is it Isaiah?
Isaiah 56 and 11. And we can start at verse 9.
Verse 9. Isaiah chapter 56, verse 9. All ye beasts of the field come to devour.
Hey, listen, they talking about all ye beasts of the field come to devour. We talked about that earlier. You understand? You got the Asians eating off of us because of weak leadership. You have the Ethiopians eating off of us because of weak leadership. All of these nations come to devour off of us. When they come from these other nations, listen, think about it, right? These East Indians, they come from a lowly nation. Nobody comes here with anything. They come here with empty pockets and a dream, and America fulfills that dream for them by allowing them to come in and devour us. They feed off of us. We talked about it last week, right? You got that. How do you have Arabs coming in here making pizza and fried chicken in our neighborhoods? How do you have the Asians coming in making soul food? Soul food. Asians and soul food don't even go.
Imagine us going to Chinatown, opening up a suit.
Listen, imagine that. And I always said, listen, I wonder how they would feel if I come in there and start serving what they eat,
Sushi,
wok and yuki and
octopus,
sukiyaki and yeah. And listen, it's easy to serve live food to them, but they won't allow it. Even though they heathens and won't allow what we allow. You understand? Because of weak leadership, this is why we destabilized as a people. You understand? Listen, the East Indians, we already know the East Indians got the Dunkin' Donuts. They got that sold up, right? The Ethiopians and the Somalians got the gas stations damn near sold up, right? The Arabs got the chicken spots and the pizza spots sold up. We see that in our neighborhoods, right? And this neighborhood right here is black and Hispanic, damn near 95%. You see a few oppressors sprinkled in there, but this is 95% black and Hispanic. and you got the Asians selling fried chicken, and you got the Arabs selling fried chicken and pizza and everything else. Asians selling soul food. Those nations won't allow us to come into their neighborhoods and do what we allow to come in because we've been destabilized. Think about it, right? Everybody comes into America to make their dreams come true. We come here just to survive. We are here just surviving. The people that we have in leadership positions are in positions of power to fill their own coffers. Let's read that, Slakia, sir. Let's finish reading that.
Yea, all ye beasts in the forest.
Go ahead.
Verse 10. His watchmen are blind.
Hey, listen. This is what we just was talking about. Our watchmen are blind. They turn a blind eye to fill their pockets. You understand? They talk about no reparations. We don't need reparations. All we need is everybody to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. They say the same thing that the oppressors say to us. Our watchmen are blind. They turn a blind eye when they see things happening to us. They see when they allow these other nations to come into our neighborhoods and rob us. They turn a blind eye. Did you ever see, Salakia, sir? I'm not getting off it, but remember when the brother and the sister went into that store and they saw the bullets in the window and they had their kid in there and they started complaining, and then the Hispanic lady came in and cleaned it up with the TV cameras and everything. Oh, it wasn't nothing in here. You understand what I'm saying? These are the things that they allow in our community. This is how our people turn a blind eye. And this sister could have opened it wide open. She could have blew the top off of this Asian store. But yet she came in and did damage control for them. You understand? And then called them an upstanding and respectable pillar in the community.
Dang.
Guess who paid her? The Asian consulate had to. They had to pay these people off to put that propaganda out there. You understand? The brother and sister had it on what they was doing, FaceTime in it, FaceTime Live and everything like that. Upstanding pillar in the community. After next to the candy, he's selling bullets too. So that we can continually destroy ourselves in this community. Think about this, right? We destroy ourselves in this very community, and nothing never happens to these people that come in and destroy our community. I'm not saying for nobody to go out there and do anything evil to them, but look at our frame of thinking. We got enough love for them that we leave them alone, but we continually show the hate towards our own people. This is how you destabilize and keep a nation of people destabilized. Weak leadership makes a nation weak. Weak leadership destabilizes a nation. The very people that you choose to lead and rule over you are blind. Go ahead, sir.
His watchmen are blind.
Go ahead.
They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber.
It says they are all ignorant. You understand? They have no knowledge of how to keep a nation strong. They have no knowledge of how to keep their own people strong. You understand? They are all dumb dogs, knowing nothing. They don't understand righteousness. The only thing they understand is filling their coffers. You understand? Filling their faces. You understand what Commander General Yohanan said? Filling their gullets. You understand? That's all they can do. You understand? As long as their stomachs are full and they're now hungry, they could give a rat about their people. But when you look at all of these other nations of people, when they get into positions of power, they make sure they take care of their people. We the only people that stand and say, "Well, no, I'm the leader of all people, not the leader of just my people." You understand? Those other nations of people, they don't say a thing, but they go about their way to help their own. You understand? And that's why we're destroyed as a people. Weak leadership will always destroy a nation. When you have weak leaders, you will be weak yourself. You understand? They cannot bark. Listen, they will not alert us in any times of danger. You understand? Listen, this is the reason why we can always get redlined at any moment. This is the reason why they can always use laws like eminent domain to us. You understand? Our leaders will not bark. They will not alert us to anything. You understand? Listen, remember some years ago when those oppressors ran up into that state building and took hostages over there because they was trying to use the eminent domain and take their land? Because they were alerted. Didn't they take an FBI agent hostage on their land? Remember that? When they tried to take their land? And guess what? They eventually gave them and let them keep their land because they got alerted. People who loved them, that had positions of power and were in leadership positions, alerted them and let them know. But we don't have that. Our leaders don't bark. They don't alert us to anything. They don't tell us anything. The time we find out everything is when we being evicted. When we get the notices on the door that said you have 30 days. You understand? And then what do our people come on? They get on TV and like, I don't know what we gonna do. You understand? They give the same sad story, but when it comes to their counter constituents, they fight teeth, nail, and everything. Think about this, right? Look at all of that stuff they building down on Boston Street. All of the building they doing down on Boston Street was planned years ahead. But our schools still don't have heat. Our schools in the summertime still don't have a cooling system. And we've been knowing this for decades. But they've been planning that for years. And it went off without a hitch. They got pickleball, basketball courts. They got everything down there. They got breweries. Listen, if anybody who lives down there works down there too, they in heaven. They in heaven 2 times because they don't even have to move their car. Everything is in the vicinity.
They don't even need a car.
They don't even need a car.
Dang.
You understand? The car just for show. But if you can remember how it looked 30 years ago and look at it now, that's a prominent area. When they talk about Baltimore, they make sure they put that on in pictures. They make sure they show photos of all of that. I told you, me and my rib was doing the Amazon in North Potomac. Those houses that they got right there on off of Boston Street, that side street that's going up, those where you can park inside under the condo like that, they had them in North Potomac. Same ones. When we saw them, we was like, oh, they building the same houses here. Is the same thing.
Everything off of that water is took over.
Yeah.
And you'll ask yourself, you know, too, Matham, it was black folk all throughout that area.
Yeah, that was
they white folk was closer towards the main part of the harbor.
Right.
And then he had this main section, they deemed it the Harbor East.
Right.
That's all the way down from that circle down there, Elysiana Street.
Yeah.
And them hotels down there. Man, I mean, it's luxurious.
Listen, all the way back up here when you where Port Street at, right? Port Street. Once you come across the field, the park, the field, right up there, Eastern Avenue, Port Street.
Patterson Park?
Yeah, Patterson Park. Port Street, if you go 7-8 blocks down, that used to all be black. 7-8 blocks down. I used to be up in here. You understand what I'm saying? And that used to be, if you look at it now, they clearing all of that out. All of that out. Remember, the projects was right there. They had Somerset projects coming from Orleans Street. They had Latrobe projects, all of that. Even right there where Little Italy was at, they had the Latrobe projects right there and coming across right there. You understand? They had projects right there. They cleaning all of that up right there. Even where the main post office was at, they was that was the worst projects right there. Wasn't that I want to say that wasn't Flag House, was it? Next to the main post office?
I'm not too sure.
But anyway, man, that was when you used to come past there on the bus, right? You used to have to roll the windows up. But people would be throwing stuff. People would even rob people on the bus right there. As soon as the bus had stopped, people used to be screaming, "Don't stop right here, don't stop right here." Because everybody knew what was going to happen. You know what I mean? You don't see none of that no more. You understand? And they cleaning all of that up. And right there on the corner, as soon as you bend around that corner, coming from the harbor, and you bend on to Eastern Avenue or that street past Eastern Avenue, it used to be a movie theater on the corner right there. I think they changed it to a Whole Foods or something like that.
There's a Whole Foods right there.
Whole Food right there. It used to be a couple years back. It was a movie theater right there on the corner. You know what I mean? And that had only been there for a few years. They had made it a movie theater. Then they changed it to a Whole Food. You understand? They putting what they want to put where they want to put it, because the Ruth Chris is right across the street from it. You understand? So I mean, they took that whole.
They made it so they was taking that strip.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All the way down to Fells, past Fells, all the way to until Fleet turned into Boston Street.
Right.
And then some more.
Right.
There's a lot of it.
They swept straight through there. You know what I mean? And they took the Harbor Park Theater. The first thing they took out was Harbor Park Theater, because that's where all the niggas used to go to the movies at. And after the movies, boy, people be out there fighting and scrapping and all of that. You know what I mean? They moved that right out. They Hard Rock Cafe, they start moving all that stuff in.
Now, just to be on point with what you're saying, real leaders would have saw that coming.
Yeah.
But our leaders are what?
Blind. Loving to slumber.
Loving to slumber.
And they sleep right through, or act like they sleep, or act like they don't know. Oh, let me look into that. You understand? I mean, let me get back to you. I'm going to get back to you. And they'll never get back to you. And this is the thing that they use on us, right?
Who do you think is proving it?
Yeah.
All these cats. Oh, yeah, we're gonna change the system from the
from inside.
From the inside up.
Yeah, we gotta get in. We gotta get on the inside. You know what I mean? And that was a lie that I used to believe back in the day. So much so, I almost became a police officer. You understand? But I guess the Most High said, "Nah, not today," because I tried 3 times. I mean, and it just wasn't. That wasn't meant for me, But loving to slumber, you understand? And that's what they do. You understand? They lack sedacious when it comes to us. They slow roll, but if it's an oppressor asking for something or demanding something, they get right on it. You understand? They know, you understand where the power lies at. They know where the power lies at. That's why they pick their feet up when the oppressor speaks. You understand? Go ahead, sir.
11. Yea, they are greedy dogs, which can never have enough.
And that's it right there. And that's the reason why they continue to come to us and campaign. You understand? And we need your vote. You understand? Because they greedy. You understand? Think about, listen. And I used to be high I used to be high on this sister, right? Until I really saw when what's the sister, the older sister that's in Congress, real older lady.
I forget. I know you're talking about.
You know?
Hold on.
Well, I know she's in the California district, right? You know who I'm talking about.
Hold on, let me get it.
I got her name right on the tip of my tongue. It's
I got her.
Maxine Waters.
Yeah, there you go.
Maxine Waters. That's it right there, right? Well, what happened was they had a stop. They had not a stop and frisk, but they could pull over any black person that they wanted in her community where her grandson lived at the time. Yo, she went ballistic, right? But it was okay when it wasn't in the community where your family lived at. You understand? And I always say, when you have somebody that's been in Congress, in the Senate, or something like that, or in any type of committee with power for 30 and 40 years, they are in alliance with the oppressor. That's the only way you last that long. You understand? All of these people that's making all of these advances, and we looking up at these people and say, yeah, black power, black, all that, that's bull crap when it comes to, you understand, when it comes to the oppressor's government. The only way you live in the oppressor's government, the only way you survive is if you're living by the laws of the oppressor, if you're obeying the laws of the oppressor. You understand? If you're following the oppressor's rules and guidelines and going against your own people, that's the only way you survive. You understand? What's the Lieutenant Governor, Anthony Brown? Anthony Brown, the Lieutenant Governor. You know why he was the Lieutenant Governor for so long and came in so strong? Because he lived by the way of the oppressor. Is he the Lieutenant Governor?
What was his name?
Anthony Brown.
Maryland?
Con. I think he's
of Maryland.
Is it Maryland? I know he was a Lieutenant Governor.
What was his name?
Anthony Brown.
Anthony Brown. Give me 1 second.
I think if you put Lieutenant Governor in there, it'll pop up.
Of New York.
Of New York?
Hold on, I got the one. Antonio.
No. Anthony Brown.
Bear with me 1 second. We're gonna get this, y'all.
Yeah.
If y'all still watching, man, make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. There's a brother.
Was it?
Anthony Gregory Brown is an American politician and lawyer serving as the Attorney General of Maryland.
Okay, Attorney General.
Since 2023.
But he was something before then.
Let me get the rest.
Anthony Brown, Michael Steele, all of them, all those black people that was governor.
He was lieutenant. It says he previously served as the U.S. representative for Maryland's 4th congressional district from 2017 to 2023, and as the eighth lieutenant governor of Maryland from 2007 to 2015.
Right.
So you were spot on.
Yeah, he was lieutenant governor, and I know he was lieutenant governor for a long time. And we were destroyed as a people all the way through that. Think about this, right? And we've been fighting for the same thing since we've been fighting. You understand what I'm saying? We've been fighting for better housing. We've been fighting for better schooling. We just talked about that last week about the how they promised us with the lottery. You understand? There's this money towards the lottery. We're gonna take a certain percentage and build up the schools. But we slowly, every time we see schools are closing, they pushing kids from 3 different schools into one school. And another thing, right? When you begin to push kids from one school into another school like that, that's coming from other schools, you create hazardous conditions because kids know, oh, they wasn't from here. And then that's when you get that pack mentality. So they're creating situations on top of situation. That's adding sin upon sin because we have our people agreeing to this, but we never see white schools get combined. We never see that happen. We never see, oh, we got to put these two schools together because we got to shut this school down. You understand what I'm saying? That doesn't happen to other nationalities of people. It only happens to blacks and Hispanics.
Oh.
You understand? We destroyed as a people. And like I said again, weak leadership is what puts us in the condition that we are in. Listen, weak leadership is what didn't get black farmers the $500 million that they were supposed to get when the COVID hit. They talking about giving they talking about what was that? Was that a $1.5 billion package for farmers now? $1.5 billion, and the black farmers didn't even get the $500 million from the COVID fund that they were supposed to get. You got a lot of black farmers saying, forget it, we're not even looking forward, we're gonna find our way through. And it's messed up because the white farmers got what they set out to get. How do you, if this is America, right? And the democracy is a good thing, how does black farmers don't get the same thing that white farmers get? You understand? Because of weak leadership. White oppressors make sure that white oppressor farmers get what's due to them. Blacks and Hispanics, we don't make sure our people get what's due them. You understand? We make sure that they get unjustly served. That's what happens to us. You understand? You can go ahead, sir.
Yea, they are greedy dogs, which can never have enough. And they are shepherds that cannot understand.
Listen, they are shepherds that cannot understand. They don't understand righteousness. They don't understand their people. They don't understand the law, statutes, and commandments. They don't understand how to take care of your people. The only thing they understand is taking care of themselves. You understand? They don't understand that. They cannot understand that. When you live in under the oppressor's rules and you follow the oppressor's rules, you can never understand righteousness for your people. You can't see it until it hits your front door. And that's most of the time, that's the only time our leadership understands anything. Remember that what's that attorney, that black attorney that used to always do all of the black, when black people used to get hurt and stuff like that, he was the main attorney here in Baltimore. I had called him one day, right? And what pissed me off was
not Conquer.
No. It's a black attorney here.
He was on TV all the time.
He used to be on TV all the time. This was Cap.
He passed away though, right?
No. This was, you was real young then. I'm saying that because I got to get you to understand that it wouldn't be a attorney that you would know, but he was a big wig attorney right here in Baltimore. And every time the news came on because something happened in Baltimore, he was like that Crump at that time here. Remember, we got news from all over now. We got 24-hour news. This was before the 24-hour news and stuff like that. But he was the main attorney here in Baltimore. And I was disappointed in him because I had called him with a case one day. And he was talking to me one way when I first talked to him on the phone. But when he realized I was black, then he switched up and was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, man? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? I was like,
he ain't put a show on.
Yeah, I was like, yo, I said, listen, I'm gonna call you back. You know what I mean? Because
disrespectful.
Yeah, but they do stuff to hook us in to make them believe that they really for us when they not.
Come.
A real attorney don't have to put their look, bro, you know, let me get all your information. Let me make sure, you know, and then he
put on a black scent. That's what he put a thick black scent on. Matter of fact, you don't even got to put a black thing.
But he started doing the them MFers, you know what I mean, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was ugly to me, right?
Yeah.
And I know I ain't, you know, but
Bro,
in a situation where you need an attorney, that's the last thing that I want to, you know, and I lost the confidence in him because I knew who I was calling for why I was calling. I had wrote a bunch of letters. I wrote letters to Obama and all of that. And when I heard him talking, I was like, no, he gonna try to take advantage. And I left him alone. You know what I mean? But our leadership, everybody that's in the forefront, and I never really
Kamala Harris, same bill.
Yeah.
Bringing out the hot sauce.
Yeah.
Putting on an accent.
Yep.
To get a vote or to get a vote. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then the thing about it is, those sisters came out and in one, what was that, 1 week they raised $1.5 million.
1 week.
And she wasn't even gracious enough to come and give them a speech after she lost.
She just dipped. Well, she was down there in Howard University, right?
Right, yeah.
She was supposed to do a speech and this whole thing.
Yeah, and didn't show up.
Yeah.
All them sisters out there, and again, we have to let our sisters know that their righteous rulership is right here. Your power and your leadership is right here in the UPK. You understand what I'm saying? This is where, listen, we may say things that
alarm you.
I want to say alarm you, but we tell you that, see, truth hurts, right?
There you go.
But we tell you the truth so that you can understand what's happening out here in the world. We don't sugarcoat nothing so that when something happened, you get boom, smack right in the face, and then you turn and say, well, you didn't say. You understand what I'm saying? And this is the reason why righteous leadership is so righteous, because whether it hurts or whether it doesn't, we're going to give it to you the way it's supposed to be given. Truth is truth, regardless. You understand? And that's what we don't get from our leadership. We don't get truth. And this is the reason why we destabilized as a nation of people. Listen, Zephaniah 2:1 says, gather yourself together, you gather together, O nation, I desire. This means to come up out of that destabilization. You understand? This is letting us know that we are destabilized as a people, and we have to come together to rebuild. You understand? And that's the only thing about this, right? Even with Black Wall Street, Seneca Village, Rosewood, and all those black cities and towns, as nice as it was, and as great as a picture in our mind that we have, the reason why that they become destabilized is because of weak leadership. When you're not living in the righteousness under the law, statutes, and commandments, everything fails when it's not under the law, statutes, and commandments.
Wow.
When it's in blacks and Hispanics and natives' hands. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not talking about the other nations, but I'm talking about under black and Hispanic rule. It's bound to fail if it's not in righteousness under the law, statutes, and commandments. This is the reason why. Think about it, right? Look at all the black cities and towns. How can all the black cities and towns around America fall? Because when you have weak leadership, and think about this, right? Even in Black Wall Street, you still had uppity black people who felt like they were better than, your average black people. When you look at, my rib was looking at, what's that show called, Salayu, sir? What's the Married to Medicine?
Go.
Married to Medicine. Now, all these people supposed to have money, right? But what's the first thing they talked about the sister when she left her bag? Now, I ain't saying that she ain't leave her bag, but what's the first thing they said? Oh, it ain't real. Now, all of them got money, but it's always us who feel like, look, even though we all got money, I'm still better than you. I'm above you, as opposed to being righteous. You understand, and saying, listen, we all good and we all got to protect each other and we all got to protect ourselves. And this is the reason why a lot of that stuff flies, because as a nation of people, we destabilize and we don't love each other enough to build each other up. But we continually, even with these little shows, we continually build up the oppressor and tear each other down. Now you got the sisters on there that ain't friends. They supposed to be friends, but they ain't friends no more. That's how you destabilize a nation of people. You understand? You get them at each other's throats. And this is what the oppressor does. This is the blueprint to destabilizing a nation. You have everybody at each other's throat. Now, when you looking at America now, America is slowly being destabilized, right? America's slowly being destabilized. So what does that mean? When one nation falls, another nation rises. And in that rise, this is our opportunity to come together as a nation of people. You understand? This is our opportunity to come together in righteousness and build ourselves up. So when America falls, when this place is destroyed in ash and soot, from those ashes and soot is going to rise a powerful nation under Christ. You understand? Through the Most High. You understand? Where we at?
In the 11.
Okay, that was it. That was it. We can drop that.
I got a little bit more.
Oh, go ahead. Read it.
Go
ahead.
They all look to their own way. Everyone for his gain
from his quarter.
Hey,
listen, that's us as a people. We all look to our own gain.
Oh, you good.
Oh, because I can't see. Look,
there,
right there. Listen, we all look to our own gain, and it's all about us. You understand? To our own quarter. We only think about us. You understand? Building our own brand, and that's what we always talk about. What's building our own brand? Not building a nation, but building ourselves up. They got a show, right, with a whole bunch of sisters on it that are real estate. They into real estate real heavy, and the only thing they talk about is building themselves up and not really building the community and building a nation. You understand? And that's the reason why the things that we have don't last long, because we only think about, our own gain. You understand? And not building towards the future. You understand? And every so-called Black and Hispanic is the future of us. How we live now and how we build now is how we gonna be living in the future. You understand? You drop that slide, sir. What's another thing that destabilizes us is, like I said again, the welfare system. Welfare system was made to tear us apart. You understand? The school system was made to tear us apart. We've been hearing about the school to prison pipeline since forever. You understand? All of the skilled positions, or all of the what am I saying, sir? The skilled remember those skilled centers that we had? Trades, that's it. Every high school in Baltimore had trades in that school. So because everybody wasn't going to college, everybody wasn't going to be a doctor or a lawyer. So they had a trade. So as soon as you left school, you was either a mechanic, you was a plumber, you was a carpenter,
driver,
you was a who? A driver. You understand? Oh, because they had driving school in school too, right? They had driving in school, you understand, and everything that made you successful. So if you wasn't going to college where you wasn't going into a real white collar profession,
some type of field.
You was going somewhere, and everybody went somewhere when they got out of school. Where they realized that they were helping to build us up as a nation of people. And slowly but surely, by the time 1995 or 97 came, most of the trades were taken out of our schools. Then they
monetized it.
West Side Skill Center. Everybody from every school in a third of the district would come to West Side Skill Center. It'd be so crowded and everything right there. And then some people, it was so far they couldn't make it. So you understand?
And look, that's what they did. And then they monetized it. That's where you get your North American Trade School. That's where you get your.
Oh yeah.
They just build on, and then cats in high school don't even hear about it till. No, I don't want to say too late, but like, damn, I gotta do something.
Right.
I can't be on the block. Well, see, you behind the ball because it's not incorporated in the education system like it was when we had our own schools.
Right.
Before the goddamn integration.
Exactly. You understand?
Sloggy.
No, you hit that on the money, right? Because I remember think about this, right? I remember being in junior high school and they was talking to us about that. We had home ec in junior high school. We had cooking in junior high school. We had economics class in junior high school where they taught us how to fill out an application, how to open a bank account, how to fill out a check properly, how to sign your name and everything like that. They took all of that out of school, and we had that in junior high.
Right.
So we had to know that before we went to high school. You understand? We had to learn how to sew and do all of that. We had to learn. It was so much stuff we learned. And I used to sit and I used to wonder, like, why is we learning all of this, right? And it was a reason. But they understood that reason was helping us. And they slowly but surely phased all of that stuff out. And by the time you know it, 2025 hit, and 35% of our people on the street unemployed. The other ones are underemployed. You understand? And I think I want to say 7% of us are living above, and everybody else is living check to check.
Wow.
Even think about it, right? I remember when making $100,000 was a big thing. Man, you need two people making $100,000 to really survive.
Look, think about the people that ain't making that.
Yeah, and there you go. Think about the people that's not making that. You understand? And then slowly but surely, they phasing us out into being delivery people.
Everybody getting, if I could add.
Come on, sir.
The mistakes that our leadership made.
Right.
Made it hard on us down the line.
Right.
Now we in this predicament, like, it's not only the oppressor, but it's like, yo, we could have had it so much better if I could have done. And we at a point where overtime is mandatory.
Yeah.
To get by. Having a second job is mandatory to get by.
Right.
And if you by yourself, geez, I mean, you having a rough go.
You said something that was real heavy too, right? Because I didn't even really think about it. That I praised the job for having mandatory overtime.
Right.
I remember when I used to hate working overtime when I was young, but now it's mandatory, and I'm so used to it that I don't even know what I would do without it. And that's slavery in itself. That's a destabilized nation of people in itself. When your survival is in your mandatory overtime. I ain't even think about that. You know what I mean? I sit there and I be burned out. But at the same time, I be thanking the Most High that I got the opportunity to work that, but we know it's a better time coming to where And then I said it the other day, right? And I said to myself, and we look at them year after year after year, decade after decade after decade. We see these oppressors up early in the morning jogging. Like, yo, where do you get the energy at?
Yo, not only that, you know what I think, Matham? Why are you not at work? Every time I take, I don't. In my mind, it doesn't compute.
Right.
Between this hour and this hour,
right?
Everybody should be at work.
Right.
In my mind, I don't understand how you're not.
Right. Wait a minute. I'm gonna go deeper because I was riding next to a lady, and she had a Yukon XL Denali, the big long joint. I know it because I went to GMC and I customized one, and it was $108,000. I'm riding next to her and I'm saying, how can you afford that? You understand what I'm saying? Again, to destabilizing the nation, you make them work harder than you so that you can take their money and give it to your people. You understand what I'm saying? Hey, check this out, right? We the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. We've been bringing the truth since 1969. And what is that truth? That truth is that the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called natives are the greatest people to ever walk the face of this earth. And the Bible identifies us as the true biblical Jews of the Bible. Like I said, unless we come back together, unless we come together under these laws, statutes, and commandments, we are always going to be a destabilized nation. And with that, I'm going to pass the class over to Priest and Captain Sapardi, Captain of 10,000 Sapardi. Shalom, Israel.
Clap it up. Excellent class. Another excellent class. Holding it down. Sure, I got this. Look here.
Got it?
God. Excellent class. We are the ISUPK out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. These are the security announcers, by the way. Under Commander Yohana. New rules for brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to show themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Ties, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers 18:21 and Malachi 3:8-10. Means 10th in Hebrew and is pronounced Ma'ashura. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you to the Treasury Department or teacher, priest fund, free will offerings. The priest not mandatory whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations, remind Akim and Akwakian. Check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headband, or scarf. Yeah, we're going to give one Christian salute to the teacher, men of Israel, Amayim Shabbat, Amayim, Barak, Bahaba Shem Yahshua Barakatah,
Yahaba Shem Yahshua Barakatah,
Bayamatah, Saul's Return. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters, men of Israel, Amayim Shabbat, Amayim, Barak, Yahweh, Bayamatah. Class is missed. Excellent class.
Thank you, sir.
Shalom, Israel. It's that time again. the ISUPK, under Commanding General Yahana, presents the Lord's 57th Annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 57th Annual Passover, April 4th, 2026, in Houston, Texas. All black Hispanics and Native Americans are commanded to observe the Lord's Passover. This will be the biggest Passover to date. You do not want to miss this. Fresh lamb, fresh wine, and bitter herbs as commanded by the Most High. Only $200 per person ages 17 and up. The biggest event of the year. There is only one Passover, and it's under Commanding General Yahana. See you there, Israel. Shalom.
Nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and war like apparel. Prefer our leaders, can't get between us. Watch where you stepping.